Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be talking about another episode of WandaVision. That's right, episode 3 of WandaVision has just been released on Disney+, starring Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany. And this show is weird as hell, and I'm glad that we got to watch this third episode because they gave all the critics and all the professional people all the first 3 episodes, and it makes sense that they gave them the first 3, and unfortunately we only got 2 last week, but we've gotten to the third episode, and this is where we start to kind of see what the show is going to be, because at this point, you know, we know the style of the show and the sitcom aspect of the show and the kind of episodic feel that the show has, but now we kind of can get a glimpse, just the smallest glimpse of the grand scope of the show, which is kind of what I inferred after the first 2 episodes. But that is what I want to talk about in this video, and it's probably going to be a shorter one because these episodes are fairly short, so there's not too many crazy things to talk about. But this is going to be a spoiler video, so we're going to be talking about everything that happens in this episode and what I think it possibly means and what I love about this show. Alright, so let's just go ahead and do a quick recap of this episode. And if you guys have been watching, you know the first episode was a 50s sitcom type thing, I Love Lucy kind of spin on that show. And then the second episode was Bewitched in the 60s, and now this episode is very clearly Brady Bunch, maybe a couple others that I have never watched, but I grew up watching Brady Bunch, so the entire production design and the set design of him building the swing sets, the outdoors, the matte paintings, everything in this episode looked exactly like the Brady Bunch, and I love that because, like I said, I grew up watching that, which is a little weird, somebody my generation watching the Brady Bunch, but I did. I've watched that show maybe like 5 times over again because my parents always pop that on in the car when we're on road trips, and we just constantly watch that show. And so it was very fun. It was very exciting to see the whole Brady Bunch intro and all these great things. But the premise of the episode is essentially Wanda is now pregnant, as you guys saw in the last episode, and she's basically giving birth to her 2 twins. So in the comics, these twins are called Speed and Wiccan, who eventually turn into superheroes themselves, or superpowered beings themselves, one having powers similar to Pietro or Quicksilver, having super speed, obviously the name Speed, and the Wiccan had more powers, more akin to Scarlet Witch herself, having magical, time-altering, or reality-altering powers. And so that's essentially who they are in the comics, and that's essentially where we're going with the show, apparently. And there's a whole bunch of ties with Mephisto, who's the kind of rumored main villain of this show, who I don't really know much about. You guys can probably watch a bunch of other videos of people who know much more things about the comics than I do. But this is all very interesting to me because obviously we know this is going to be like a reality shattering show. By the end of it, we know Wanda is probably going to be turned into a giant villain of the series, who probably causes all the problems in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and all the chaos that happens in Spider-Man 3 with all the crazy multiverse casting announcements in that movie. So that's where we're heading. We all know that that's where they are heading, and to see the pieces kind of placed into this show, seeing how it's kind of being formed so far, is really exciting because, you know, there are some other casting rumors which I don't want to get into this video that get me excited, but just the mention of Quicksilver in this show, because, I mean, we haven't had a single mention of him since Age of Ultron, which is kind of insane that nobody has ever even referenced that guy, even though he was so brutally murdered by Ultron. And it's a great little moment between her and Geraldine, of her saying, he was killed by Ultron, wasn't he? And she kind of just snapped out a little bit of this reality that she has built for herself, because that's kind of what I think is happening. I believe in some way, whether it's because of Mephisto or whether it's because of her own, you know, grief and her own sadness of creating this world to bring Vision back and the consequences that happen in it, and whether she did this in this small town that, you know, has the same name as this small town in this show, and basically trapping all these people in there, because that's what the neighbors seem to be wanting to say. They kind of wanted to say, we're all trapped in here. But, of course, you have Kathryn Hahn's character continuing to be one of my favorite characters in the show because she so perfectly captures the type of acting in these old TV shows. They're all super over-the-top and hammy. And some people, like I said in my previous video, some people might be turned off by that and the acting style of this show because it is very over-the-top and it is very cheesy. And there's stuff spinning on the walls and there's fireplaces lighting on fire and there's a whole sequence where there's a stork running around the house, and Wanda's trying to have Geraldine not notice the stork running around because she doesn't want them to know about the powers. And what I think is fairly interesting in this show is you have Wanda and Vision, and their goal of this, I guess, sitcom is to not be caught and not to be, you know, shown, not to be showing their powers to anybody else. And that's a very classic, superhero storyline, to keep your secret identity. And that's kind of what Wanda wishes she had. She kind of wishes that she was able to keep her identity a secret and be anonymous and have her happy life with Vision, with these two kids. But obviously she can't have that. And to everybody else in this world that she has created, they have the secret of knowing that they're all trapped in there, and kind of having that in the back of their mind that this is all created by her. And even Wanda seems to know more than she's letting off, and Vision seems to be kind of a victim of all of this. And so I feel like that's where the show is going to be going. Vision is going to be kind of piecing together how things are being twisted by Wanda, and probably that relationship is going to be fractured by the end of this, because he's dead, he's gone, and maybe this is what she's doing. She's trying to rebuild the Mind Stone, creating this reality for Vision to be reborn, but that probably just won't work out. And it's a very fascinating thing. And I'm theorizing about all these things, and we just get little glimpses of this world outside of how Geraldine is actually Monica Rambeau, the daughter of Maria Rambeau in the Captain Marvel movies. So, she's become an agent of S.W.O.R.D, and we still don't know whether or not S.W.O.R.D is, a good organization like S.H.I.E.L.D. was, a brand new version of S.H.I.E.L.D. that's built in the world after Endgame, or if they have more nefarious type of plans that they have plotting in the background. Who knows what their actual intentions are, but I tend to believe that they're on the good side of this. And whether Mephisto is actually a thing in this show, or which also Mephisto has ties to Reed Richards, or not Reed Richards, something with the Fantastic Four and a Richards, maybe like his son, mutant son, or something like that. I have no idea. Like I said, the comic aspects of what the show is based on is so over my head, but I enjoy the sitcom-y stuff, and I know some people probably don't like that, but in this episode you get to see where they're going towards. But I do enjoy the silly and the goofiness of this thing, because there are some really, really hysterical moments in this episode, and obviously I love the Brady Bunch. So all these different things, all these things falling together to create this really weird and wild swing for Marvel is what I love about this show, and what I hope that keeps on going. But I need some more, not really answers, but I need to see this outside world in this next episode. What I'm hoping for this next episode is we've reached the end of Act 1 of this show. I want to see the outside world, what Monica Rambeau is doing, what she's trying to do, how she got into this world in the first place. And I just want there to be some sense of, I guess I am looking for answers. But, reaching 4 episodes in, I feel like we need to get something. So that is my review for this episode of WandaVision. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought of the episode. Theories, everything, drop them all in there. And I'm excited to get into some more episodes that critics have not already reviewed, because, they were all given those, so who cares about that? But thanks guys for watching this video anyways, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Like I said, comment down below, leave a like, do all the things, and I hope to see you all in my next video.